Hey guys, what's happening? So for this one, we're jumping back into Deadpool and Wolverine WW3, or in this case, Wade Wilson III, where at this point we finally get the answer to why Wade underwent this procedure to practically make himself mortal after being unkillable for so long. So with that said, if you're enjoying these videos, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications so we can squad up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so coming back, we pick right up where we left off, with Wolverine finding Wade Wilson III at this strange cliffside compound, just moments before the two of them were dropped through a trap door so they could continue this fight for the audience up above. Cause as it turns out, this group of filthy rich onlookers, they're the patrons for the secret procedure that Deadpool underwent, which as we're told is supposed to improve him, quote unquote. But none of them really care about that, they're just here to see a show, which is provided to them by way of these drones that are just hovering around Deadpool and Wolverine. And keep in mind, Wolverine, he didn't come here looking for a fight. He just followed a trail of clues that he believed Wade left intentionally, which all eventually led him here. And when he found Wade in this condition, Wade attacked, forcing Wolverine to fight back, but this whole time he's just trying to get Wade to snap out of it. Meanwhile, up above, that mysterious voice we heard from before tells his assistant, Greta, to get ready, because soon they're gonna need to change some of these parameters. But back over with Wolverine and Deadpool, Wolverine admits to himself, generally speaking, he doesn't really care too much for Wade. And to be completely frank, he admits that he hates his guts. But on top of that, Wolverine also has a soft spot for idiots whose brains get scrambled by rich maniacs for their entertainment. So that's why he's pushing forward in what he would call hero mode here. But as we know, it goes a lot deeper than that for Logan, because there's a reason why he followed Wade here in the first place. But we'll talk more about that in a little bit, because right now for Wolverine, after receiving numerous cuts and stabs, he decides to share a bit of advice with his old buddy by letting him know that he's been where he's at, with a brain full of probes while not quite in his right mind, where for Logan, the only one thing that could snap him out of that was pain. So he hops on Deadpool's shoulders, thrusting his claws through his back and through his head, which brings him to his knees. So Wolverine keeps stabbing away, only to have this combination countered with the Mortal Kombat Baraka spine burst. And it's right here where Deadpool tells him, "There is something I want. You are in my way. Destroy what's in my way, and I get what I want." Simplicity. Which right here just shows us how the transformation that Deadpool's undergone has caused him to speak very logically, without the funny quips, just straight to the point. And it lends for some really good moments in this story, and we'll see more of that in a little bit. But right here, the two of them are met by Greta, who we saw earlier, where in her case, she has the ability to use her mouth to transport either things or people from one location to another. And trust me, when she takes both of these guys in and spits them out somewhere else so they can talk to her boss, it literally took everything in me to not throw a Hawk Tuah clip on top of this moment. Cause I mean, it just would have been too easy. But also with her just spitting these guys out with no consideration of them having a safe landing, both Wolverine and Deadpool end up crashing in ways that would have killed any normal person. So for a moment here, Wolverine, he makes this observation like kind of to himself, but at the same time he also knows that he'll recover and Deadpool will be back on his feet in like 3 seconds, which is precisely what happens. But also, it's here where they're met by Greta's boss, who's also the mysterious voice Wolverine heard when he arrived at the cliffside compound. And when he gets here, he tells Wolverine that he's the guy who performed this procedure on Deadpool, and how in this moment Deadpool is still in recovery, so please stop stabbing him. And he tells Wolverine, before you attempt to eviscerate me, I would like to explain your predicament and your options. Call me Delta. But right out the bat, when Logan takes a look and gets a whiff of this guy, he's like, expensive cologne, ballistic fibers threaded with silk, sweat of a vegan. And he's like, man, if I wasn't pissed off, I'd still want to gut him. But Logan also understands Delta's holding all the cards right now, so he just plays along for the time being so he can find out more. And that starts with him asking, what did he do to Deadpool? So at first, Delta gives him the simple form of the answer by telling Logan that he gave Wade what he asked for, the opportunity to be the best version of himself. So now Wade Wilson III is able to serve a higher purpose without having the self-destructive ego to derail him, which right there in itself is the dumbed down version of the answer. So Wolverine asks again, because he wants to know specifically what was done to Deadpool. But instead of explaining it to Wolverine, Delta more or less just tells him that he'd be too stupid to understand, and all he says is just rest assured that it was done exquisitely, because he believes Wolverine should be more concerned about what's coming next. But here's the thing about underestimating Wolverine. Because as soon as Delta showed up here, Wolverine took one look and caught a whiff of this guy. He already knew his diet, and he already had an idea of the way this guy was going to start talking to him. So with Delta not being clear on the details, Wolverine also picks up that this dude's wearing an earpiece, and he hears the people laughing on the other end. So when Delta tries to make Wolverine an offer, Wolverine tells him, "You're not offering nothing. It's those people in the masks who are really calling the shots." Which on one hand has Greta like, he read you like a book. He's got your number, D. And Delta doesn't like that, so in a very condescending way, he tells Wolverine a broken clock is right twice a day, and tainted experiments are not worth finishing. But those who watch want to know, is the Wolverine at his best only when he's at his worst? So Logan's like, yeah, that's the theory. So Delta tells him, one we shall test rigorously. So Delta just discards Deadpool, tossing him to Wolverine just before they're swallowed up by Greta again and transported to a North Russian tundra area, which Wolverine is not too familiar with, but he would guess that it's about 1,000 miles from where they started, unless she sent them east or west, then at that point there's no telling. But at this time, Wolverine, he's making reservations to wire Greta's jaws shut. But for a moment here with the two of them trying to stay warm, Logan tells Wade that they need to move to see if they can find a nearby village or some form of sustainable shelter. And Wade agrees, but Logan, he's still not sure if Wade's gonna lash out again, since he's not really sounding like himself, which in a strange way makes Wade even more unpredictable. But right here, he ends up telling Logan, no, I wanted to kill you, but I got over it. We should part ways for both our sakes. Which clearly feels like a bit of a mixed signal kind of thing going on, since Deadpool wanted Wolverine to follow him here. So Wade tells him that Deadpool did. I'm sorry about that. He was frightened, I guess. I'm not frightened anymore. I'm not him anymore. Third time's the charm. Just before Wade walks away and Wolverine's like, what's that supposed to mean? But going forward, Logan sticks with him. And as all of this is being caught on camera by the drones, the people who are watching are not at all excited about what they're seeing. So Delta tries to sell to them the idea of it being a part of Deadpool's process by telling them sometimes meaningful change requires endurance, but these guys aren't buying it. And they tell him if they're not entertained, then this is going to be the last event that they support for him. So the pressure's on for Delta, and for the next 6 weeks that would follow, him and the others would watch as Deadpool and Wolverine endured the harsh cold weather conditions. And throughout the course of this, it gets pretty bad for both of these guys. And I appreciate how, once again, we're shown that having a healing factor for either Wolverine or Deadpool, it doesn't make it so that these guys don't feel pain, but it more so perpetuates their suffering. Because around week 3, Wolverine's like, healing factors are going to stave off problems for a while, but the cold is still cold, and having a body full of metal does a number on his core temperature. While on the other hand for Deadpool, on week 4, he starts coughing up blood. And so far, since they haven't seen much of any wildlife, all they've really been able to do so far is just drink melted snow. And approaching up to week 6, it gets so bad, and especially for Deadpool, where Logan's not sure if he's gonna make it. And at this point, it almost sounds like the old Wade is coming back, with them making sarcastic remarks about Delta, which is usually how Deadpool would deal with pain. But on this 6th week, Wade wakes up to Wolverine cooking something over the fire, which at first has Wade believing that he's having a smell hallucination, because again, they haven't seen anything out here to kill. So Wolverine hands over this piece of carved meat to Wade, telling him to take it slow, because if he pukes it back up, he's not making another. So of course, Wade just stuffs it down. He's like, oh my god, what is this? Is this rabbit? Raccoon? Just before he looks up at Wolverine, who has a huge chunk of his leg missing. And seeing this causes Wade to pause for a moment, but then he just goes back to chomping down on that medium rare slice of Logan. But after seeing Wolverine commit such a selfless gesture, he feels like the least he can do is open up and tell Logan what's going on. So Wade goes on to say, you know the thoughts that keep you up at night? Why am I so screwed up? Does God hate me personally? Will I ever not feel like a walking, talking piece of crap? The old me would drown those thoughts out with various recreational poisons. But this last time, I couldn't shake it. Unfortunately, as I have a feeling you know intimately, guys like us just can't turn off our brains through the usual means. Everything just grows back. It's a special kind of hell, one I deserve, but that doesn't mean a guy doesn't get tired. One of those who watched came sniffing around, offered me 10 large just to chat. I obliged, figuring there's more gold to grab. Enter Delta, knows my story, has my records, claims he can fix me. I laugh in his face. He says that my life can't have meaning because of the bad parts of me. The worst parts are gonna live forever. My healing factor, distilled from your healing factor, blessing and a curse, kept me from dying of cancer, but it also kept me from dying of cancer. Delta didn't bother trying to mess with the healing part. Lost cause. He supercharged the cancer 10,000 times, more virulent. Voila. Mortality. The worst parts of me will die, so that maybe the better parts will get things done. I traded time for purpose, and then I screwed it up. So with hearing this, Wolverine asked Wade if Wade wanted him to stop him, but Wade doesn't answer. So Wolverine's like, Wade, I'm not your friend, I'm not your father. And Wade tells him, no, you're the one who figured this all out. Mutant Outcast suffers through the accident of life, gets turned into a literal monster, and does unspeakable things for shady people, but even after that, you became more. A man. And it's right here where Logan understands what Wade meant earlier when he said third time's a charm. Cause Wade wanted his path to be mercenary psychopath with cancer, turned beloved ex-adjacent anti-hero, icon, turned to an actual human being. But right in the middle of this talk, Delta and Greta show up, along with a bit of extra muscle, with Delta telling both Logan and Wade that his patrons have grown bored from watching this survival show for the past 6 weeks. And I mean, I guess they would prefer Naked and Afraid. Though Delta does mention they enjoyed the cannibalism. But as soon as they get here, Logan tells Delta to fix him. But as far as Delta's concerned, he did that, and Wade squandered it. So next, he gives them an ultimatum. Either Wade comes with him, offering his body to their research, or be destroyed here, since he helped destroy Delta's other quote-unquote failure in Vancouver. And for a moment here, Delta, he frames it like he would still be doing Wade a favor, even by putting him out of his misery. And he goes on to ask the question, hasn't Wade's life been nothing but misery up to this point? And right there, Logan can't even say that Wade's life hasn't been. And right after that, Delta flips it on Logan by asking him, has your life been lived better than his? Or have you just had more time to hide that the Wolverine is just a monster? Which right here, this just has Wolverine popping claws, cause he's had enough of Delta popping off at the mouth. But immediately after, Delta unleashes his creature, who he refers to as Snowflake, and I'm not really sure how that happened, but that's what he's been calling it. But as soon as he snaps his finger, this thing just races towards Wolverine, snatching him up and flinging him like a rag doll. And as this is happening, Delta tells Deadpool that he's gonna give him one more chance. He can reset his cancer and buy him some more time. All he has to do is come with him. But this whole time as Wade is watching Logan, Delta kinda has the feeling that Wade's gonna try and be a hero. So he tells Wade, don't die a meaningless death for the entertainment of these wealthy fools. Show them that you can become more. Meanwhile, on the side, Wolverine, who's just been wrecked, he's just laid out under this hulking snowflake monstrosity, who's getting ready to continue to pound Logan into the ground. But as soon as Snowflake lifts its hands, Deadpool comes leaping in to rescue Logan, only to get caught by Snowflake, who just starts tearing Deadpool apart limb by limb. While in the meantime, Logan, who's still recovering, he's trying to get back to the fight as quickly as possible so he can help Wade out. But by the time Logan's able to make it to his feet, Deadpool is ripped into multiple pieces. And this is another part that just has me intrigued. Cause to start, for a moment here, the old sense of humor comes back. Cause Wade's like, just a flesh wound. But also with Wade telling Logan the whole story about how this process took away his immortality, so to speak, by giving him a limited amount of time to do and be better. It now also creates the situation where, as it stands, Wade's regeneration may or may not be as good as it was 6 weeks ago, let alone as good as it was prior to that with Wade Wilson version 2, aka Deadpool. So even now with Logan back on his feet, with him getting Wade's torso tossed at him with one arm still left, only followed by his head dropping on top of it, this just has Logan like, man, I guess we're putting that healing factor to the test. Only for this creature to come in and stomp what's left of Wade into a puddle of mush, which right now this has Wolverine not so sure if Wade's gonna make it back. Cause you know, with the whole thing of Wade Wilson III being mortal now and whatnot, but for the time being it's just Wolverine by himself going up against this monstrosity with a very deceiving code name, though I imagine Logan's biggest concern even now is if Wade will be able to pull off another miraculous recovery. And I mean, hopefully eating a healthy portion of Logan will help him out with that. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com dope spill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.